often get asked about what would I do if I started a practice from scratch again in today's economy. How would I get that practice from 0 to 300 visits a week in 3 months? Which has always been like a thing I wanted to do. And for many of you that don't know is, I'm 41. I often think about when and how I would open another practice. I have owned 8 practices, but I wasn't really a full-time clinician in those practices. Thinking about it really gets me excited to open a practice one day again. And I will, I'm 41, what I'm gonna do for the next 20 years. If you're watching this and A, you're slightly new in practice, this is gold. And secondly, if you've been in practice for quite some time, all you gotta do here is really take yourself back to some of these fundamentals and act as if, I often say. Those of you who've been in practice for more than 10, 20 years, if you look back when you started the practice, that's often a clue in what you need to do, get back to in some way, shape or form to get you back to growth. If you've stagnated or hit some type of plateau. The truth is we all hit a plateau at some level in our business. Often it's going back to the beginning and how you operated in the beginning, and that's normally the key to breaking through this next ceiling. About how I would start a practice from scratch again, and some of you might see it in real life one day when I actually do it again. Here are 7 strategies that I would lean on heavily if I opened a practice from scratch and did it all over again. In the beginning of a business, pretty much all that matters is marketing and awareness to get leads to the front door. That priority also changes as you get momentum. Instead of momentum is 150 visits a week, and then real nice momentum is 300 visits a week. And I say real nice momentum because more equals more. You just start getting more walk-ins, more energy, more referrals. It's just a beautiful place to be. That 300 plus visits a week, it just really, it felt like, you know, that image of pushing a boulder up a hill. It's really hard. And then even if you get it over the top of the hill, that's a 300 for me. And it ties into what I do if I open the practice from scratch. It's got to do with, in the beginning, you know, when new patients are sitting in reception, it's like tumbleweeds in there, right? There's no one in there. So you've got no social proof. I mean, scratch, there is no patients. So even the choreography of when you're booking your new patients in context or in relation to your busy adjustment set are important to think about in the beginning. So I'm gonna run through some cool strategies that are gonna be quick wins, because we all need cash flow. There's the overhead of the practice. And I'm also gonna tie that in with how I would do it if I did it all over again, based on how things have changed. And this is, some of these things is do as I say, not as I do. Because when I opened my practices, there wasn't even social media in the beginning. I was one of the very first people on the planet to get new patients from Facebook. So I'm gonna give you context of how I would do it if I did it today. So point number 1 is whenever I consult with someone about starting practice, I always say you're gonna have 10 things before you open. So let's talk about pre-opening. The goal when you pre-open is you're looking for 10 things. There may be 3 or 4 screenings, 3 or 4 talks, 2 Facebook ads, a practice launch ad, maybe a couple joint ventures. Just do 10 things and you're okay. And the goal is you want 100 new patients before you open the door. 100 new patients. If you're doing a hard opening, if you're doing a soft opening, it's sometimes a little different. Soft opening would be you've got a practice that's got like 1 or 2 benches that are ready to adjust. The rest of the practice hasn't been fully done. So you're gonna do a soft opening and you're gonna open and you're gonna do like 1 or 2 shifts and you're gonna see new patients and you're gonna start getting some cash flow and momentum in the practice. If you're gonna open a practice from scratch, it's 10 things before you open the door. Screenings, talks. You're going to lean a little bit more heavily on things like screenings and talks. And this is what I call elbow grease, because you actually have the time. I know you think you don't have the time, but the minute you step into practice and start seeing patients, you're going to have a tough time doing those screenings every day, all day. So it's actually quite easy. Instead of going to, whether it's Costco or whatever, you can go to Costco for 3 days in a row in the beginning before the practice opens, and that's 3 of your 10. So it's quite easy to hit 10, but I'd normally say if I started all over again, make sure you get 10 things in the calendar before you open the doors. 100 new patients before you open the doors. It's a game changer. If I do it all over again as a pillar, point number 2 would be I would really focus on personal brand. Way more than I ever focused on before. Brand marketing it costs a lot of money. So you need a big war chest for that. And you can't really measure return on investment. That's like, if you think of like a big blimp that's flying over, everyone looks at it, it's awareness, it says Continental Tires on it, that's brand marketing. And I hated that context. However, what changed since I opened practices was that you can develop a personal brand a lot more achievably and inexpensively. You're watching this in some way, shape or form because I have a bit of a personal brand in the B2B space. But I didn't practice in a time where I had a brand in the B2C space, which is, as a chiropractor, I have hundreds of thousands of followers that people follow my stuff because they watch me adjusting patients, they want me watch me interacting with patients. They watch me on podcasts. They watch me produce educational content. So point number 2 is I would, from the very beginning, see my practice as a content producing asset. Many of you will see this in action when I do open a practice again one day. It's too important for me to not produce the content because nothing else matters. I would make it part of my history form that this is a teaching practice, that Dr. Ryan will have cameras and videographers all the time, and there's a consent form. And quite honestly, if someone doesn't sign the consent form, I'm not sure if I could even accept them in the practice the way I would want to practice, because I would repurpose everything and I'd almost have a videographer come in every day, find someone that can capture the content, edit the content, people that have done really, really well. You can do all of those things at the level that you need it in the practice. And I would dive into 2 specific types of content, or 3 if I was able to pull it off. I would try get podcast appearances in health categories. I think it's quite easy to get actually these days. That can be repurposed and social proof. I then do lots of educational style content, doing content on things they can cut out of their diet to affect that type of stuff. I'm doing lots of educational style content. And the good news about that content is that it all already exists. I would just go model other people's content that is doing really, really well. So it's the easiest for me to replicate, because I would just be going, this doctor in this place does this awesome reel where he ranks the top performing things for X, Y, and Z. And then I would emulate that in my own style and I would go hard on that. I would also focus heavily on demonstration content. And this will be content where a camera's on me while I'm interacting with a patient, capturing some cool moments. That doesn't mean I wouldn't capture myself adjusting. I would capture myself adjusting, and I highly recommend you do the same. I would block book a certain set of patients, maybe my new patients or second adjustment patients, at a specific day for 2-3 hours, and maybe you can have quite leverageable time there, because you can actually have a videographer coming once a week for that, and I'd have those patients back to back, and I'd try to get anywhere from 3 to 10 of those interactions a week. As opposed to how and what and tactics, point number 2 is specifically around the intent behind going all in on content, all in on personal brand. Hey, if you're liking this content and it's helping you and you've watched this far, I'd really appreciate it if you did me a big favor and subscribed. So many people actually watch my videos and aren't subscribers. It's a normal thing in YouTube, so it'll mean the world for me if you subscribe, and it helps me create more content and help you further. Strategy number 3 I want to create an easy, lucrative, fun business. For me, that means working with people that know, like, and trust me, that have first of all come in because they've consumed lots of my content. There's almost no selling required off the back of lots of content. But equally, I'd want to set up some type of onboarding process that really cuts out any of the BS. And the only way you can do that is really set up some type of workshop, orientation workshop, or some type of thing like that. And I would be so militant on this so that I really built the practice the way I wanted to build the practice. I'm very blessed that if I was building a practice from scratch again, at the current situation I am, I wouldn't be doing it because I need the money. So this business for me, it really changes the way you think about it. And it's like, I want an easy, lucrative, fun business as something I can do for the next 20 years and still coach and still do an agency. So in order to do that and not take too much mind space, I would go, I want to make sure there's a significant filter in place. So every single patient would have to come to an orientation class. But that would be the gold mine of the practice, because not only would I have high retention, I want to tell them exactly what we do and what we can't do. So this is not a miracle cure. If you do not understand that healing takes time, if you do not honor that process, we're probably not the right place for you. But if you want a true solution to your problems that has no side effects, that helps you function better on every level, I'm the place for you. The other thing I would do, I'd insist that guests, partners came with that. Now, many of you watching this, when I am seeing the marketplace, this is becoming massively favorable again, because people are seeing how expensive it is to acquire leads online and going, wow, if I just did a workshop and got 4 people to the workshop and 2 of the 4 brought a guest, that's 6 people in the workshop, that's 2 new patients. Now, many people pay agencies thousands of dollars to produce 2 new patients a week. Literally 10 new patients a month, thousands of dollars. You can do it for free in your practice. So I'd make that the primary filter and new patient generating opportunities in my practice. The 4th strategy I'd use is I would use paid traffic, Facebook ads, etc. But the key here is that organic needs to be the pillar or the starter, and off the back of that, I would use paid traffic. So this is specifically Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I would really go heavy on that stuff. I think what's an interesting thing to share with you is the point of doing organic marketing will decrease your cost per lead. So I'll give you a real life example. In this business, we have done webinars before, and we also watch cost per lead in that business. So what will happen is our cost per lead might be climbing. When we repurpose content that has worked well organically, our cost per lead plummets. In some cases, it's gone from like $30, $40, $50 a lead to $5 a lead because the marketplace first told us which organic content did well, and then we use that as paid traffic. So if I made the pillar organic, then I'd have lots of opportunities to test many creatives to do paid traffic. But what most people are trying to do is use paid as the starter, and paid traffic is really the accelerator. The fifth strategy I'd lean heavily on is lectures or workshops. These can be either in businesses or within the practice. This is the only place I would spend what most people are way uncomfortable spending. I'd spend 10 times more than other chiropractors spent on workshops and the ability to get into corporate talks. I run multiple businesses, so if I did it all over again, the workshops within businesses would be crazy lucrative for me, and I've done them before when I had 8 practices. We did sometimes 5 workshops a week, but I didn't do them, right? So now I'm thinking of this, if I'm running multiple businesses, I'm running a practice, would I put a lot of emphasis on that? It just depends how busy I want to be, which is crazy for me to say. This is what I'd do if I wanted to get into businesses. I'd hire a full-time person, I'd tell them their full-time responsibility to get me in, or I'd pay someone a lot of commission to get me in, more than most people feel comfortable. Because for me to talk to 25 people in a company would be worth so much growth, new patients, and revenue. So when it comes to workshops, depending where I practice in the world, if I can remotely spend a certain amount of money and get 25 people in a room once a week for a set topic, I would try pull off 1 to 2 workshops or dinner with the docs a week. Now, some of you might go, oh, that's a lot of work. And it's probably going to cost me quite a bit of money to do that. But at that point in my career, I want to be relatively lazy. So that means I still have the highest impact. So if I can get multiple people in a room and then share with them what we do and what we don't do, and that'll be the most powerful thing that I can do, and the most leverageable thing I can do, and the most scalable thing we can do. And that saves me from having to go do screenings and corporates and all those type of things. I would spend double to get 25 people to come to me, as opposed to me spending 2-3 hours on the road going to a corporate talk. But the problem is, the gap there is that most people are not prepared to spend double. So would I spend $5,000 to fill a workshop all day, every day, even if I just broke even on the front end? In fact, even if I didn't break even on the front end, the goal is always to break even on the front end, but I would do that all day, every day, because I've got 25 people in the room, they see the practice, let's say 4 of them convert, let's say I break even on the front end, then the re-signs, the referrals, I'd go all in on that, because I've got my orientation workshop, which I've got referrals coming in from, and I've got this workshop, and I've got new patients coming in from, plus my organic content. I'd be practically done when it came to new patients. Strategy number 6, not really a strategy, it's what we all have come to understand, that that's important in business, and that is sales. The context that I've got, worked with hundreds of practices, seen what works, what doesn't work. I'd just be so comfortable having a criteria that is, let's say, quite aggressive. People would have to see me for an intensive set of care. I would probably say that's where I'd want to specialize. Now, one of my mentors in chiropractic practiced many, many years ago in South Africa, actually, and I went to observe him. Then we're seeing 100 a day in his 70s. And I remember sitting down for him. I went to observe him as a student. I went for coffee with him afterwards, and his protocol was every day for 10 days. Now, in today's standards, that's unheard of, right? But every day for 10 days, every day for 10 days, and then dropping down, etc. I'm not necessarily do that. But I would really, really lean heavily on understanding that an easy, lucrative, fun business comes not from the customer choosing what they need, but ethically and organically, and something that sits well with me. It has to sit well with my soul. Recommending a treatment protocol or care plan, and there would be no compromise on that, because I know the minute there's a little bit of compromise in there, we start giving away too much time, too much energy to try to convert people. When it comes to sales and marketing, in order to pull that off, I do believe that if I did it all over again, I would invest heavily in the diagnostic process of chiropractic, whether that's heavily on x-rays or heavily on postural photos, but a combination of them. And point number 7, and the last one in this one, if I wanted an easy, lucrative, fun business, is I would put all my eggs in the basket of retention reactivations. So I would really understand and do understand that your patient list is your asset. They better be getting 2 to 3 emails a week from me. I'm sure if you're watching this and you've downloaded any of my stuff, you will see that you get that type of stuff, because acquiring new customers is difficult. So nurturing those that are already engaging with you has to be the priority. When I talk about retention, there are a couple of things called retention multipliers. Typically that comes with engaging more in the product or service. So I'd really make sure that the practice, right from the word go, has themed parties, patient appreciation events. I understand that getting people in a room and engaging with us as a business, not about the primary thing they came in for, not about their neck pain or back pain, becoming a place where we share incredible stuff and really going deep on that. And investing in that, by the way, not just going, hey, we've got a workshop next week, but sending postcards, booking people ahead of time. So at the emphasis of the business is we want to change people's lives and get them in a room and focus on retention and even send them print newsletters. That'll be the emphasis of that business for me. And it might even tie into how I structure the care plan process. In the beginning, there's going to be an intensive phase of care, but on the back end, the only way you might be able to work with me if I wanted easy, lucrative, fun business is I would literally just go, this is a membership-based business. This is the only way people can work with me is this way, this way, or this way. Or you buy a care plan and you pay ahead of time. I probably wouldn't allow people to pay-per-visit because, and you're gonna be careful of this legislatively wherever you practice in the world. In some countries, you have to offer a pay-per-visit option, but I'm just not that keen on being in a business where people can choose, to pay 45 bucks every 6 months. That doesn't light me up. So if I do it all over again, those were the 7 tenets that I'd focus on to build an easy, lucrative, fun business. Now, you might be watching this and going, some of the stuff doesn't relate to me because I do need the finances and I do need the extra stuff. And there's some of that stuff you're gonna lean more heavily on. For example, you're gonna go out there and shake more hands and be a part of BNI and really get out there. I might not have that time with multiple businesses. So the context through which you need to watch this is, if Ryan is gonna do it that way, if you started from scratch again, there's something in that, because those are highly leverageable strategies and tactics I've just given to you now. So that's how to open a practice from scratch today in today's economy with all the different moving parts and changing things, and boy, things have changed. Hopefully you'll be able to see this live one day when I do it from scratch all over again. The point is easy, lucrative, fun. If you had to do this for 20, 30 years, how do you set it up so you can do that? And those would be my most leverageable things, and I think you should take a note from that because if they're my most leverageable things, they're probably yours too.